What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of The Shy. This is season 4, episode 7. I know that this review is hella late, but let me just go ahead and get into it. I'm going to be honest with you guys, straight off the bat, this was not a good episode to me. I'm going to explain why. And I'm not going to go in order as far as what the show filmed. I'm just going to touch on each character and what I felt about their story this episode. So let me go ahead and start off with Papa. I thought it was really interesting that Papa is the one who's finally telling Jake, hey, y'all didn't have to do Kevin like this. And I'm just like, well, where were you, when you tried to have your podcast popping? Because you should have been telling Jake that then. But, Jake is saying that he had to follow his heart and all this stuff. And next thing you know, you have Papa is trying to teach him how to, figure his girl out. What's her love language? That's what they were trying to figure out. And next thing you know, he's buying all these little things for her. One thing about Jake that really gets on my nerves is that he is always saying what he will and will not do for a woman. Like when Papa was over there making his little collage or whatever for Maisha, he's like, you would never catch me doing this for no woman. You would never catch me do this, never catch me do that. Am I the only one who has noticed that Jake consistently says that on every episode at this point? I mean, he even tells Gemma that type of stuff to her face, which is ridiculous to me. But, she like it, go ahead. So we do see that he ends up asking her, Jake ends up asking her to the spring fling, right? So I thought this was really cute. Oh, look at Jake trying to be all sweet. But it's very hard for me to be like, oh, Gemma and Jake, they're together. When in my mind, I just keep thinking, y'all did Kevin wrong. And I think I'm going to think that way this entire season. But let's just go ahead and move along, because I realized I mentioned I was going to talk about Papa, but I also, finished out Jake and Gemma as well. Get them out the way. All right, the next person that I am going to talk about is Tiff and Emmett, actually. I'm not even going to talk about them going to go see Keisha. That's going to be a part of Keisha's story. I just want to talk about them at a sex party, because at first Emmett had no interest in going. However, once he changed his mind, and when we got to the party, I'm just like, I guess. I get where we were supposed to be going with this, but it just didn't look like it was my type of party. The type of people that were there, even the guy who approached Tiff, I thought that he may have been gay or bi or something else. I don't know. I was just surprised that he was interested in Tiff, and he was also the same guy who was married to the head lady at the party. I was pretty surprised by that. I feel like Emmett was just walking around, looking at everybody else and what they were doing. I'm hoping that brought them closer, because other than that, this whole scene was pointless. Because I gathered nothing out of this whole sex party situation. Oh, but one thing I wanted to point out was the fact that we got no Dom this episode. Which I'm just like, okay, cool. We don't have to see Dom. But I do kind of miss Emmett's dad. Where is he? That's what I really want to see. But besides that, that's not where I was going with that comment. Here's the thing about Tiff and this whole edible business. What edibles was she talking about? Because she was serving lemonade in glasses. So I'm just like, what edibles were you serving, girl? I'm just really trying to figure out the business that Dom and Tiff have. Because I was under the impression that Dom was making soul food with weed in it. But I could be wrong. Because you know what? I'm not a writer on this show. Let's just go ahead and move along. So I actually want to talk about Kevin real quick, because we see that Kevin he's going through it, but he's also changing. Because when we first saw Kevin on this episode, you have his trash mama throwing it in his face that his best friend took his girl. Because the way Nina said, oh, you're sad because your little girlfriend left you for your best friend. I'm just like, whose mother talks to their child like that? Like, this is this poor boy's first heartbreak. Why are you acting like this? And then the fact that she talks about how he needs to stop focusing on all these girls and focus on school because you have her sidekick Dre talking about because we really want you to get back into that other high school. Excuse me? He's not going back to that school. They expelled him. He's not going back. So you just have to take it how it is. And considering they have moved, I'm wondering, does he go to the same school as Papa, or is he at a different school? Because they moved from their old house. So I'm just wondering, what happened with that situation. So after that, we actually see Kevin. He's about to go buy like a video game, right? But who does he end up running into? Old girl who was Vic Mensa's little sister. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the characters' names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. So this girl, she actually gets the game, and she's like, okay, well, I'm about to go ahead and head on out the way. And Kevin is like, well, can I play with you? And she's like, yeah, okay, sure. So he takes her, she takes him to the west side, I think, of Chicago. And at first, when they were like entering into like this place, I was like, first of all, what kind of meat did that lady just fry up if it was meat? And secondly, what kind of dungeon is this? But it was actually a cool little place where, these young nerdy teenagers can geek out and like play video games. Like, it was really cool. I'm like, okay, that's super dope. So they're hanging out and Kevin ends up beating her. They kind of have a conversation about how, she's been through some things, and of course, we know Kevin has been through a lot. So I really do like these two because even though, they both have their own trauma that they have gone through, like, I feel like they can probably lean on each other and they actually look really cute together. However, though, because at the end of the day, Kevin was trying to, ask her out on like a little movie date, and she ended up turning him down and was like, well, I don't really look at you that way, but, we can always hang out and play video games together. I don't think that that's true. Even though I know that she friend zoned him, I feel like, this may be like the first guy who may have like asked her out or something. So she just wanted to be like, nope, I'm turning you down. I need to focus on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't feel like that's how she actually feels about Kevin, but we'll see. We shall see. I think that they look really cute together, and I would love to see Kevin have a new girl and not be so focused on what Gemma got going on. So let's go ahead and move on. You know what? Let me just go ahead and get Keisha out the way because she frustrated me so much this episode, and usually I like Keisha. However, we started the episode off with Keisha talking to her baby about how, oh, mommy loves you and all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, is she in what's her name, Octavia's house, and like Santa's behind Octavia's back, or like what's going on? Then I started looking around the room. I'm like, wait, this is probably her bedroom. And I was right, because Nina ends up coming in and they have this conversation about how, Keisha took her baby back. I'm pissed off that we as viewers did not get to see the conversation between Keisha and Octavia. Because how is it that you, first of all, let's break this down. When you met with them, you knew something was off, as in, they were not together. Then you sat up there and told this woman in her face that you knew in your heart that she was the person who was supposed to have this child. Because that is what, your senses kept telling you. Then y'all had to do this whole home birth, all this stuff. You've had this woman around this whole time. And the thing is, you already know Octavia's story of how she has been trying to have children. She has not been able to have them. And now you want to snatch this baby away? That blows my mind. And then for you to sit up here when Nina is asking you, like, have you asked yourself the hard questions? She's like, what hard questions? I'm like, is Keisha even thinking about this? Or is it that she just wants this baby because it's hers? Like, I get that you had this baby, but girl, you are really going to have, like, a constant reminder of that lunatic man? Okay, if that's what you want. But that was honestly the only thing where I've ever agreed with Nina that Keisha should actually be, questioning if this is what she really wants. One other thing that stood out to me throughout this entire episode was the fact that this child does not have a name. And I'm like, how is that even a thing? You knew this baby was coming. You couldn't think of no names. Like, we couldn't even get a conversation where Keisha was like, I thought maybe this name, but then I changed my mind or something. Nope, she had no name. So, next thing you know, there's people coming over to drop some things off to to Keisha. They made it seem like she about to, like, round up some friends, to drop some things off. And I'm like, well, what friend did Keisha have? Because she ain't got none no more. All her friends left her high and dry. But it was just Emmett and Tiff, and they were just dropping off their kids' old stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever. And at one point, Keisha has a conversation with Tiff, and Tiff is basically saying, like, having my baby was the best decision I ever had. I had my son around the same age that you were having your kid. All this stuff. And I'm just like, how are you sitting up here saying that EJ was the best thing that ever happened to you when most of the time you're not with him and you don't even know who has your child? But okay, Tiff, I'm going to let you pretend to be a great mom when really you're not. So, at one point they have a conversation about, the name possibilities. And they're explaining how, a name has to have all this meaning, and if you're going to name a child after somebody, then they are carrying they're carrying on that person's legacy. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, we gonna see where this goes. So, what was funny to me was that Nina was like, well, we just want to make sure that the baby passes the resume test, aka name your child a white passing name so that way they can get a job in the future. I'm just like, Nina, go away, please. So, let me just get onto this last scene because we literally see Keisha. She's asleep, but she is literally having PTSD of everything that happened to her. And next thing you know, she wakes up, and while she was having this PTSD and like flashbacks, she kept saying Ronnie, right? Because, Ronnie is the person who rescued her. Y'all, when she got out that bed and walked up to that baby, I was like, oh my gosh, don't let her do anything to the baby, right? Now listen, I was thinking like physical harm. But no, she didn't do that. But she did do something to the baby. She had the audacity to name that child Ronnie. Ronnie, you guys. Because I guess what Jada said stuck with her about keeping a legacy for somebody. Ronnie don't need no legacy. Yes, he rescued Keisha. But let's not act like Ronnie was the greatest citizen in the world. Because he was not at all. Ronnie is literally an alcoholic, like he was a drunk, who happened to also be a murderer because he murdered Coogie at the hands of Tracy telling him to do something about how their son got killed when Coogie is not even a person who killed their son. Yeah, let's start there. And also, last time I checked, Keisha, your brother is the one who witnessed the murder. So you're going to name your baby Ronnie after the guy who put trauma on your brother, but I guess it's okay because he saved you? Girl, get out of my face. Bye, Keisha. Goodbye. I'm so pissed off that she has the baby and the fact that she is naming the child Ronnie. Like, honestly, I wish that Octavia would take her to court or something, because I feel like there had to have been like a written document between them that, this is Octavia's child. But you know what? That is not what we got. So let's just go ahead and move on along. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and move on to, what is their names? Trig and Imani. Because there was a lot going on with them this episode. Mainly Trig. And I was over it for most of the time. So let's go ahead and start off with the fact that you have Duda, who is the mayor. Remember, y'all? The mayor. He's back in the hood and he's pulling up on Nook to tell him that he no longer needs his services for him to leave the trap house and, basically let these girls go. Right? So I'm thinking that they're just going to remove the girls from the house. No. Nook literally leaves, and they say, you have Imani dressed in all white, looking like the Great White Hope, coming in there. Her and Trig don't have any type of plan at all, so they are going in there blindly. And the fact that, once they finally are just like, okay, we're just going to go in there and see what happens, they unlock all the doors, and the girls, I don't know, I hate the way they shot, that montage of all the girls' facial expressions when, they open up the door, because it's not like the girls were excited that they were being saved at all. These girls were just kind of, just standing there, looking I don't know, it's just really strange to me. And also, I just feel like they should have at least had a scene where the girls was who are y'all? What are y'all doing? Why are y'all here? Because these girls do not know who Trig is, and they definitely don't know who Imani is. So, next thing you know, when it comes to this situation, we see Imani going through her closet, about to bring these girls some clothes because they don't have anything. And I'm just how are we only going through your selection of clothes? There should have been a rollout plan to, get these girls out of this house as well as be able to provide for them. I just hate that this storyline is doing what it's doing. So, like I said, she got them some clothes or whatever. We do see her handing some of the clothes out to the girls. Trig ends up bringing some food over there. And he's like, where y'all plates at? And they're like, we don't have no plates. And, we have two girls who are just basically listen, y'all over here trying to save us, but who's to say that y'all saving us is really what's good for us? That's basically what they're saying. Because these girls have been with Nook, who knows? Who knows how long they've been there? Also, that's pretty much the only world they know at this point. They don't have family and friends, so who are they going to turn to? And then this is the part that really pissed me off, y'all. The fact that the girls are just okay, so where are we supposed to go from here? And Imani and Trig had no idea, no plan, no nothing. Also, I'm trying to figure out where was Tracy in all of this. But back to them not knowing anything, you have Trig bringing up the fact that the shelter has one bed open. One bed. And I'm just you just took in, what was it, 12 girls at least? There was at least 12 girls that were there. And you think that offering them one shelter bed is okay? Sir, get out of here. Duda is the mayor. Again, Duda is the mayor. You have direct access to him. You mean to tell me he don't have no apartment he can get them, to stay in temporary or something? No? Okay, whatever. So you can already tell that Trig feels like he is way in over his head when it comes to this situation, but he is going with it because of Imani. And at the end of the day, they decide that they're going to give the house to the girls. Who's paying the bills on the house? I don't know. Where was Nook supposed to just pack up and leave to? I have no idea. But they're going to give the house to these girls. If they don't get out my face with this. Because then, on top of that, we see that, what's her name? Imani, she finds Trinity's room. I'm trying to figure out, why did Trinity look like she had a whole room to herself? Considering you have all the rest of these girls looking like they sleeping on bunk beds. I said, you know what? We just gonna go with it. They ended up calling the place Trinity's house, and that was pretty much that. Now, let's go ahead and move over to this other situation with Trig, because Trig is out here trying to be the street police and it's not working. Let's be honest, it's not working because he had another follow up with Vic Mensa and his girl. I think her name is like Cherry or something. And, at first Vic wasn't there, right? Okay, cool. Next thing you know, he gets a call and they are over there fighting. Her brother comes over and they are just going back and forth. Trig tries to get Vic to calm down or whatever. Next thing you know, the brother comes downstairs with a gun and I think he like dropped the gun or something. And next thing you know, Vic ends up picking it up and shooting the brother dead. And I'm just like, another reason why this whole police situation is not working for this city. Like, it's too many things that could possibly happen. So, Trig is definitely in his feelings about this whole situation. And you have, what's his name? Duda basically telling him that he needs more protection. And I'm just like, shouldn't you be providing this program something like that? They should have protection. You gave them $5 million, right? Or maybe he didn't. I don't know, but I just feel like they need to have more people volunteering to help or something, because they are dropping the ball seriously. All right, you guys, now let's go ahead and end this review on Nina and Dre, and I guess a little bit of Jada, because when we first saw Jada, she was actually cutting all her hair off, and then the next time that we saw her was at Nina and Dre's house, and like her hair was all the way cut off. And I must say that I love the haircut on her, way better than those twist things that they tried to give her at the beginning of the season. And I think a little bit of last season they tried to give her that terrible hairstyle. That terrible hairstyle. But I actually think that the bald head is a bit more fitting for her. All right, now let me go ahead and hop back over to this whole Nina and Dre situation. So first of all, Nina is walking around with a chip on her shoulder because she is feeling all types of guilty. So when it comes to Kevin, like I mentioned earlier, she is an a-hole to him. But then when it comes to Keisha, I feel like she handles Keisha with a bit more care because of everything that Keisha has gone through, even though she completely ignores all the things that Kevin has been through. And I'm just like, how do you not see that this boy is struggling? But you know what? Because Nina is very selfish. If it's not really about Nina or Dre, Nina don't care. So, like I said, she walked around with a chip on her shoulder. Emmett ended up coming over, and he already knew that something was not right with her. He's like, yo, like, you just need to go ahead, clear your conscience, because I know that look. You need to be honest. Like, he didn't know exactly what Nina did, but he knew that she did something wrong, and she couldn't even deny it. She just told him to, like, be quiet. But, girl, we know that you cheated on your girl. So let's move on to this later scene with Nina actually having a conversation with Jada. And Jada is like, thank you so much for sharing Dre with me. Because if it was me, I would have thought something was going on. I'm sorry, Jada, but the fact that you said that lets me know that you knew that it was wrong at the fact that you told Dre to keep this a secret. Because honestly, once you told Emmett, she should have been able to tell Nina. Honestly, she should have been able to tell Nina the whole time, considering y'all sit up here and act like y'all are three besties. It's bad enough they just kind of threw Dre on the show, and her and Jada were magically best friends. Whatever. So Nina actually comes clean to Jada, and she's like, I did something. I cheated on Dre. And Jada is like, well, you just have to be honest with her. You have to tell her, she could probably handle it. And I'm just like, Jada, no offense, but this is kind of all your fault, because you told Dre not to tell anyone, and you told her not to tell her wife, even though you had already told like a handful of people. Like, come on now. So later on in the episode, we have Dre finally hearing from Nina what has happened. So, before I want to mention this too. So earlier in the episode, you had Dre, she noticed that Nina was a bit different, but she's thinking that it's because of all the news about Jada, how Jada has cancer. And I'm like, girl, you thought that affected Nina like that? Whew, not at all. So they're having this conversation, and Nina is like, I have to tell you something. And she has to tell Dre that she was with somebody else. And I cannot lie. When Dre was doing all those, no, I said, what acting class told you to do this? Like, the dramatics. I just could not. Like, I would have respected it more if she was doing all those no's when, like, they found out Keisha got taken. Or, like, if Jada dies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was that type of reaction to me. But whatever. That is pretty much the review that I have. As far as Nina and Dre, I do not care if they're together or not. I'll be completely honest, because both of them are aggy as hell to me, and they still don't pay attention to the children that are right in front of their faces. It annoys me. It really does annoy me. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode. I just have like a few questions as to where this season is going. Like, are we going to see Duda doing more hood activity type things? Is Nook going to seek revenge on Trig since he got kicked out of his house? Is Keisha... No, I'm not Keisha. Octavia. Is Octavia going to come back at some point so we can see her again and see how she really feel about this whole baby situation? Is old girl going to actually give Kevin some play? Like, what's happening? But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.